Welcome to Side by Side Games. I'm Alokin, an advanced gamer.
And I am Oceanwolv, a casual gamer.
We're a husband and wife duo reviewing video games from different gamer perspectives to help you and your person find your next two-player game.
We discuss pros and cons and then break down the game into 4 categories: co-op ability, production quality, gameplay mechanics, and overall fun.
Let's get into it. Today we're going to review Mario Kart 8 Deluxe on the Nintendo Switch. We're going to start with a brief overview on the price, our playtime, co-op style, and where you can buy it. Here's the TLDR. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe delivers stunning tracks, deep mechanics, and nostalgic fun, but it lacks strong co-op features and can feel unbalanced for new or casual players. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is a racing game where you race as classic and new Nintendo characters or your Mii on 40 intense tracks throughout the Mushroom Kingdom, inspired by real-world cities, unlocking special rewards with each cup you win. The price for this game was brand new $60 plus the DLC. We must have put in, 60 hours in this game?
Mm-hmm.
And the co-op style is couch and loco, and you can buy this on the Nintendo shop. Next, we're going to start talking about pros and cons. I'll start with the pros. For me, I really like that the difficulty in this game is scaffolded, which means that you can start at a very low level on 50cc. You can slowly learn how to play the game, and as you get better, you can go to 100, 150, and 200. I think the art is really beautiful, and the mechanics are incredibly strong. If you know how to do it, it does what you want it to do. And then the last pro for me is the variety of courses and drivers. With the DLC, they added so many more courses. It's pretty much double the game. And there's so many different drivers that you can have so much fun, and you can pick any character that fits your personality.
So, yeah, your last pro is a natural segue for my first pro that I listed, which is that I loved that Mario Kart 8 Deluxe had so many tracks, characters, and outfits,
Mm-hmm.
which obviously is something that I value. The first thing that I said on my pros is that they had so many tracks, characters, and outfits, like I was saying. And then the next thing that I really love about the game is that you can hold 2 items at once. It stays in your wallet or pocket,
Mm-hmm.
and then you can use it.
Mm-hmm.
And then another pro is the smart steering, the
Mm-hmm.
optional smart steering. And I think that's a pro because for people like me who may not be really good at drifting sometimes or whatever the case, it's really nice to have that car bumper. And it's a pro that it's made optional because people like you, where it's like it messes you up, you can just turn it off. So I
Yep.
really like that they made that optional.
I agree. My cons are that there's a large skill gap between the person who's just picking it up for the first time and somebody who's a really tryhard. And so whether you're trying to go for 200cc or you're trying to play competitively, there's a large skill gap, and the smart steering I think is nice to help with that, so that when you're in races with somebody, that you can keep up and you don't have to fear that you're going to fall back just for falling off a cliff or something like that. And also the random number generator, the RNG in Mario Kart, I feel is really poor, and I think it can ruin the experience of somebody having a fun time, especially if you're leading the group in first place and you get hit by a blue shell, or you hold a coin and they don't give you a defensive item in time. I think that can really ruin the experience of Mario Kart immediately. And then lastly, I think that the multiplayer viewport needs a little bit of work. The vertical side by side, I think, could be very tricky sometimes in some levels that don't allow you to see what's in front of you when you're taking these really sharp turns in the DLC. And it really ruins the experience because you don't feel like you're in control of the game.
Yeah, totally. I agree with all those things. One of the things that I had similar, which is that getting Mario Karted. It's a term that these, what is it, like the Mario Kart
Community.
racers community have, which means, I mean, to me, in my translation, it just like, it's just rigged. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know if that's like the polite way to say it. Going off of that, then, one of the cons that I had was that the first player controller has it really hard in the game.
Mm-hmm.
And it's obviously because this game is competitive. Like you're made to fight for your place, especially when it is the 200cc cup.
Yeah, we tested first player input versus second player input, and we noticed that first player input gets hit by about 2 to 3 blue shells per track
Mm-hmm.
if you were leading in first place. But when I switched to the second controller input and you were on the first player input,
Mm-hmm.
it was like 0 blue shells when I
Mm-hmm.
was in first place, which was really strange. And we completed so many 200cc cups that way, where I was just playing on second controller input because no blue shells were coming. It was a very strange thing,
Mm-hmm.
but for some reason, it's part of the game.
Yeah, and I think it's important to note that for anyone who's listening, is like the way that me and Alokin play Mario Kart is that we buddy up. We are racing with each other. We're not racing against each other. Okay, yeah. So that was my first con, is that the first player controller does have it hard. And then my second con is that the city maps are not intuitive.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of confusion because one of the amazing things about this deluxe world that Mario Kart has built is the literal depth of every track, which is amazing to explore. But because it's so in depth, you're gonna get lost. So that's one of the things that I felt was a con. And then the last con for me is some of the items are a hit or miss. The accuracy is not precise to exactly what I was aiming for or looking to do. And so that's really annoying. Like, specifically, I hate the fire flower, the one
Mm-hmm.
that shoots flour like
Yeah,
10
yeah.
times
Yep.
and it's supposed to burn like
I
your
love
other
that one.
opponent. I hate that one because it's so inaccurate and I no one ever gets hit.
I love the fire
Why?
because I feel like if anybody comes in front of me, they're getting burned or they're going to get hit. And if anybody's even close behind me, they're going to get hit. So I do like the fire. Fire.
So you do, like, when you use it, you aim it well?
Yeah,
Or
I hate the
it
flower. I hate
actually,
the Venus flytrap.
yeah, so that's the other one
That
that
one's random. Who is it
yeah,
going to
the
hit?
other one that I hate is the piranha plant. That performance, that item performance is always a miss because
Mm-hmm.
the way that it works is that the piranha plant, you carry it and the piranha is biting the floor to basically drag you forward and help you advance. And then if it passes another player, it eats them. But every time I use the piranha plant, for some reason, everyone is nowhere to be freaking
Yeah, they
seen.
never get hit. Yeah.
And then, but then when the computer players have piranha plant, I'm like getting
I'm
bit
always getting
all the
bit.
freaking
Yeah.
times. Those two items specifically are always a miss.
Yeah. It's inconsistent for sure.
Yeah, the unreliability of it is really frustrating.
So for the first key category we're going to review is co-op ability. Co-op ability is how well the game supports teamwork and collaboration between players. For Mario Kart 8, I have the co-op ability at a 4, which is pretty low, which means it needs work. Because you cannot really play cooperative in Mario Kart 8 unless you really coordinate the second and first place positions to create gaps with the computer. Because of this, it is possible to play cooperatively, but the game is more competitive because other items can be used to hurt your teammates if you try.
Mm-hmm. Which, like you said earlier, the vertical split screen just limits your visibility. Ultimately, I feel like Mario Kart is designed for solo play because competition is prized and only one player will claim first place.
That's a good point. Similar thing. It's a competitive game meant to be played as a team. But
And
it'd be cool if there was a team option.
yeah,
Where like when you're driving out, I mean, we do this naturally. We pick the same character, so we know that's our
yeah,
teammate. But like where it's signaled to a computer or other players like when you're playing.
yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah.
Or like even just like the vertical, maybe that's the mechanics, but I feel like it obviously is connected to the co-op ability. The vertical split screen, every time we played, we felt like it was way too
It's way
narrow
too
and
narrow.
it should just be top to bottom view because even when you think about driving a car,
Mm-hmm.
like the windshield is wide
Yeah.
because you need to see your surroundings and where you're going to go ahead versus this vertical split screen. It's very just like singular, like narrow. You're looking down the road and it's not
Yeah, I would even
good.
rather they have like the view that when you play as a single player,
Mm-hmm.
but just like smaller on the screen and there's like black around it. But I still want to see the full view of what I'm supposed to see.
Yeah. The next category we want to talk about is called production quality, which is just about the design, artwork, components, and overall craft of the game's materials. I rated this as a 10. So that's 10 out of 10.
Wow, that's
um,
perfect.
it is perfect, the production quality, because I said that no other game, when you really think about it, dominates arcade racing like Mario Kart. There's just none. I grew up with Crash Team Racing, and I love that game so much, and I really wish it evolved like this series. The deluxe version brings next level tracks that I didn't even know was possible. I love the me character and its suits and seeing my character in game the most, which
Yeah.
matters to me because I put so much effort into my look.
Hmm. For me, I put production quality as an 8.
That's why it's a 10 out of 10 because it just hits all those things. What's really going to draw someone in this game is exploring the deluxe tracks, and they are so special, and the design of each track, you really feel like you're in its world.
Mm.
They have a track for New York, and then they also have a track for Paris,
Hmm.
and I think one in Tokyo or Hong Kong. I forget the cities, but just being in those cities, you really feel like you're. I didn't feel like I was necessarily playing Mario Kart because I feel like, oh, I'm in this world and like,
Hmm.
where am I even going? Wait, I can't say that now, but the roads are some like oftentimes unclear because there's no directions.
Hmm.
But it's such a they did such a beautiful job of creating um, a world within just one track
Yeah.
because it's so. I feel like I don't know how to describe. I think I am, but I think that's like really important.
Hmm.
And then even
It's not like you're like transported into like a new location. For me, I put production quality at an 8. I felt that the DLC really improved the production quality on this, and it added all those racers and courses. And this just makes the game really rich. Like it adds a variety for every type of player, and there's something for everybody. And there's so many rewards to earn. And of course, the music in this game I really love. I think Nintendo always does a good job of creating great music to match the tone, the mood. And when you hit that third lap, it starts going really fast and you feel it. I think they're
oh
just really
yeah,
good
that's
at creating
funny.
a full
Yeah,
experience of the game. Yeah.
yeah, like speeds up so you get more like it's more
It's more
intense
intense.
and like
Yeah.
you get more pressure
And then
and
you
to
might make a
rush.
mistake.
Yeah,
It's really
because you
good.
can't recover on that third lap.
Yeah. It's just the production quality is very smart.
I love it.
The next category we're going to discuss is gameplay mechanics. This is the game's rules, the flow and balance, and how to engage, and if it feels intuitive to play the game. I put a number 9 on this, really high, because there's so many levels to it. The game ultimately rewards high level mechanics if you know how to drift really well, if you know how and when to drift, and if you understand the map, like where shortcuts are, but you have the knowledge of when the turns are going to happen, you are highly rewarded. But it's also very simple to get ramped up and complex enough to keep the racing interesting as you level up in skills and learn new combos. Anybody can just pick it up. But also, if you stick long enough, you can become an expert.
Mm. So interesting. Okay, so I rated Mario Kart 8 Deluxe gameplay mechanics as a 6. So it's fair.
Hmm.
I would not say it's a love for sure. It's not anything above a 7.
Okay.
The reason why I rated the gameplay mechanics as a 6 is because with 12 racers, 3 groups are naturally going to form when you race. And so this makes catch up possible in
Mm-hmm.
every track. I think that's why it's fair. The 3 groups that will naturally form when you and your person are going to be playing this game is the first group is the front runners. So this is first, second, and third place. Anyone in these places can easily win because second place gets the most red shells out of any player 1 through 12, and then third place gets more. Because second place always gets the red shells the most, and then it's third place who
Mm-hmm.
gets more.
That makes sense.
Okay. And then the second group is the mid pack, which is fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, and eighth place. And this is the freaking most chaotic group to be a part of because
This is the one you were a part of a lot.
yeah, I was a part of this freaking group like for like a lot. I was either in this group or I was second place. The mid pack group is so intense because it has instant and constant position shifts. Within this group, everyone is driving with you and killing you, and you are driving with them and killing them, trying to get to the front runner group.
Hmm.
It's you either stay in this group, or if you're really good at racing, then you will get to the next group of front runners
Hmm.
if you literally fight for your life. But it's possible. That's why
Yeah.
it's fair. I rated it as fair. And then the last group is the stragglers, which is
Hmm.
just ninth place, 10th, 11th, and 12th. So I feel like ninth and 10th place, they do have a chance to catch up because Mario Kart will give them items and coins to support your progression into the next group. But 11th and 12th just balance the race.
Hmm.
Honestly, if you play this game, your chance of being 11th and 12th is really low unless this is the first Mario Kart game that you ever will play, but I don't think like this Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is not beginner friendly, which I doubt that anyone just picking it up is playing this. So I feel like 11 and 12 is just there to balance the race out
Hmm.
for the rest of the racers. So that's why I rated it a 6. It's fair.
Okay. Makes
Yeah.
sense. Yeah. You want to go to the next one?
Yes. Okay. The last category is called overall fun, and this is how enjoyable and entertaining the game is for both immediate play and long term replayability.
For me, overall fun, I put a 7 because I put Nintendo knows how to create fun games that have strong replay value. It is incredibly fun for players who just want to learn how to pick up drifting and invest in planning for their fastest times. But this game can also be very difficult for those who can't close the skill gap. I think that if you could close the skill gap a little bit more, that number could go a little bit higher and it could just be more enjoyable, like overall fun. But I think that because sometimes the RNG or getting Mario Karted, however you want to call it, can really ruin the entire experience of the game. And it's very upsetting when you lose because you got hit by a blue shell at the very last
Mm-hmm.
second or
Yeah.
something feels unfair.
Yeah.
And unless you are able to close that skill gap and get to that next level of planning your defensive items in
Right.
higher skill and competition, it's hard for the game to feel like it was built to have fun.
Mm-hmm.
And I think because of that, I put a 7. Otherwise, I would put it higher.
Yeah, I rated it as an 8. The overall fun is an 8. So we both put in the category, it is a love. We do love it. I say that Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is only for Mario Kart fans and skilled drifters since it's an advanced version. The deluxe tracks are made of unclear turns, multiple routes, and or continuous roads that never loop back, which is a really amazing thing for fans and skilled drifters because it allows us to strategize our own victory, but that's going to be really difficult for people just picking up the game. So that's why I don't really feel like it's beginner friendly.
Mm-hmm.
And lastly, the 200cc cup, which is the ultimate experience of the game, will have you cursing and your thumbs aching. But earning those 3 stars on every track is worth it all.
It's definitely worth it, especially to see the new like cosmetics and the new rewards that you get for each
Yeah.
track. Is It's really fun.
Yeah.
For co-op ability, you put a 3 and I had a 4, which puts our average at 3.5. 3.5 for co-op ability, which is pretty low. Needs
Yeah.
work.
Yeah, it definitely needs work.
Production quality, you had a 10 and I have an 8, which makes our average a 9, which is really high. It's a beautiful game. Gameplay mechanics, you had a 6, I have a 9, which makes our average a 7.5. And then for overall fun, I have a 7, you have an 8, which makes our overall fun 7.5. So the average for all of our ratings makes Mario Kart 8 Deluxe a 6.87, which falls into the fair category. What do you think about that?
I think I like it's on the nose and
Mm-hmm.
it's funny because I do feel like that rating is fair. Like it's called fair and I do think that's a fair and solid rating because, like, a casual gamer like me, I wouldn't recommend this for.
Mm,
I'm not gonna play this with another casual gamer. But if you're not like competitive like me, and you are two casual players, and you just want to have a good time and explore the Mario Kart world, then this game is for you. It's not for everyone, and that's why we both feel like
yeah.
the rating is pretty solid. Definitely, I do feel like it's worth a try. But just now that you have this review going into the game, you'll be prepared on what to expect.
There's going to be times where you're going to be very upset because of all the things that we said. And there's a lot of things to enjoy about the game, but you might also feel the same things that we felt. We hope this helps you find your next two-player game. If you want a quick rundown of this review, check out our blog in the description. We have more two-player game reviews there, so you and your person can find the perfect one.